for measuring with a little tub on the top, a large bowl with a mixing spoon, caster sugar, self-raising flour, softened butter or margarine, baking powder, vanilla essence, pink food colouring, eggs, icing and icing sugar. You will also need cupcake cases and a cupcake baking tin and an oven, obviously. I've already stated all of the ingredients that you'll need, and I will be putting the recipe in the description. Take your ingredients and one by one measure out the correct amounts of each into your little tub and then put that into the bowl. I start with all of the powders first and then I put in the more damp ingredients. Oh, I just described butter as damp. I'm now deeply uncomfortable. There's almost definitely an easier way to get 4 ounces of butter than scooping it out with a tiny teaspoon. Learn from my mistakes. For eggs, you can either crack them open with a spoon, or you can crack them over the side of the bowl. Just make sure there's no shell in your mixture. That might make things a little bit crunchy. Set a timer for 3 minutes and beat the heck out of it. And then take your food colouring and I put quite a few drops in. Some recipes say to only use between 6 and 12 drops of food colouring, but I think mine is closer to 20 because I find that that is the correct amount to get the cakes as pink as I like them to be. This recipe is so easy because all you have to do is put it in a bowl and beat the heck out of it. A normal tablespoon and I scoop out amounts of the mixture and then I put it into the cupcake casings. You want them to be about halfway full.
Oops, my heart went oops the moment that we met.
Oh, and be careful with the overflow. Make sure there's no bits that are going to fall off of the side or bottom of your spoon. You want to try and make them all fairly equally full. Some people use ice cream scoops for this because it is probably neater, but I just get away with using a normal spoon. Then then you want to take your lovely cakes and pop them in the oven, which you have preheated to gas mark 6. I will put whatever that is in fan temperatures, and stick them in for 15 minutes. And then you can do the best part, eating the cake batter. I always used to get so upset in home economics in school because they never let us do this, and it's honestly the best part. Whilst you wait, you can do all of the washing up. Trust me, it is far, far easier this way. That means that you don't have loads of mess to clean up after your cakes are done. To determine that your cakes are actually fully cooked, we are going to do the stick test. So what you do is you take a clean wooden stick and you poke it into the center of the cake. When it comes out, it should come out hot all the way through, and it should also come out without any bits on. If there is any cake mixture stuck to the stick when you pull it out, that means it's not quite cooked and it needs to go back in. But if it's clean, as you can see here, then it's cooked. Now you have to wait for them to cool down before we can do the icing, around 15 minutes. Probably don't just stare at them. Now we can do the butterflying portion of our butterfly cakes. So you'll need icing sugar and unicorn icing. Well, not unicorn icing, whatever icing you prefer. This is vanilla icing in just a nice fancy colour. Take a sharp knife and very carefully cut a little circle into the center top of your cake. Then scoop out the circle that you have just made. Taking a butter knife, I find this is easiest, scoop out some of the icing and use that to fill the hole that you've just made. You simply cut the circle in half to make little wings and stick them into the icing. Ta-da! You have made your butterfly. You just repeat this process. I like to smooth out the icing as much as possible and try to make sure it doesn't kind of go outside of the confines of the hole that we've created. Also put things like jam or chocolate chips in the bottom before you put the icing on top for an extra sweet touch. Now taking the icing sugar, and are you ready for me to do the stupidest thing ever? Yep. Really genius. So once you have your icing sugar in the sieve, you can gently tap to cover all of the cakes in a thin layer of icing sugar. I find that this just makes them look and taste just that little bit sweeter. Then for a final touch, I am taking some mini eggs, which are my favourite chocolate treat of choice, and I am dipping them into a little bit of that unicorn icing and then popping them in the centre of the wings. And after you've done that, then your beautiful and easy butterfly cakes are finished and ready for eating.